Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to go over a tool that we use basically in our day-to-day raid grinding. I get this question very often, so I want to go over this tool in its entirety with you guys today in this video. The tool that I'm talking about is actually Raid Shadow Legends Helper. It's a massive tool created by Farbstoff and managed by him and his moderator team. It's an incredible tool, like I said, and it makes life a lot easier for everyone playing on the PC. So I'll show you guys how to download it, how to use the features for it, at least as of this video updated for 2024. And yeah, we'll break down every little detail as much as I know in my day-to-day uses. And yeah, let's get right into it. Hey guys, so I'm going to provide you guys with the working download app for the application. Make sure you guys be careful about downloading this application from random links that you guys see on the internet. They might not be working or it might be corrupted, so just be very careful about that. This link I did get from his official Discord, which is what they supply to people looking for a fresh download link. So I will provide that in the description below. Make sure you guys download that and use that link to install the program. There are some little kinks with trying to get to work. So the first time you try to get to work, you might not be able to run it properly. The biggest issue that I've ran into with installing and then getting it to run properly is basically your own antivirus will block this program, viewing it as a threat and so forth. So the easiest way to get around that is to basically go into your security network manager, and then basically go into your firewall and then place the RSL Helper folder, the whole file, as part of the exceptions for the firewall. And then once you do that, open the RSL Helper application as an administrator, and it will always run no problem from that moment on. So that's my biggest tip for you guys. That saves you guys a lot of headache if you guys run into issues with your antivirus. So make sure you guys do that. So I'm going to skip like a lot of that initial setup stuff because I don't think that's what this video is for. This video is for showing you guys how to use it in your day-to-day life. So I'm going to jump into the day-to-day life part of it. So starting your day, I basically leave my RSL Helper on my bottom toolbar here. I open it as administrator. I have it running as administrator all the time, but in this case I'll start it off as if your first time, so I'll run it as administrator. It opens up. This is the most recent release. This is what it should look like when it's running, and here we go. So as soon as you click the application, it will load the game up for you, and this is a very proper loading sequence. It will load the account last logged into for player and play. So if you last logged into your friend's account, for example, it will load your friend's account. So make sure it's on the correct account that you want to be loaded. So now we are entered into one of my accounts. Cool tip here, if you guys didn't know, Farbstop included this plus button maybe about 6 months ago. But basically, if you click this plus button, it will close your instance of Player and Play, and then it will open Player and Play again, and it will allow you to switch your accounts. So once you do that, once you switch your accounts, you can actually, RSL Helper will load that account as well. So then you will have two accounts running at the same time off RSL Helper. Now, this isn't something that RSL Helper exclusively does. You can actually do this without RSL Helper, but it requires you going into Task Manager and closing Player and Play, for example, and then reopening it. So RSL Helper does all that for you, which is very, very convenient. So here we have the opening screen. So right now you see it's all kind of black. Sometimes it requires you to basically hook the game onto the helper. So what I would like to do once in a while is basically hop into like a campaign run for 4 energy, and then just do a quick run just to make sure that everything kind of loads up. See, look, you see some of the opponents are loading up here. So just make sure you run a quick run with your team. Any team, doesn't matter. It could be part of your normal daily routine. So it could be part of your quest or anything like that. Just do one run to make sure everything runs smoothly. Okay, you see here everything is running smoothly. We got the stage showing 12-3, showing one completion, 3 turn count, and then it's showing the reward that we got. Okay, so everything looks good. It's hooked on properly. Back to the Bastion we go. So let's go over some of the features of this amazing app. Okay, so if it's your first time running it, it's going to look incredibly daunting, I would say. But of course, using any kind of new tool for the first time will be a little bit overwhelming. So let's the first thing you want to do is, like I said, if you want to try to use it just to auto run your training, for example. Let's say I just wanted to run campaign. Okay, if I wanted to run campaign, I'm in campaign. I can run it all. I can just click this green arrow button, and then if I have this box click, it says run effective resources. It will run all my energy down without stopping, but only effective resources. So only what is available here, it will run it all the way down, and it will always run it down for the rest of until this application freezes or crashes or your computer restarts or something like that. So it will constantly be running it. So every 4 energy that regenerates, it will run another run. Okay, so it's something to keep in mind. If you take your arrow off here and then you put next to max HP, you could do this as well. So you could have run effective resources and then put next to max HP. So you'll run your effective resources, and then once these are max HP, you will stop. So the helper will stop. Okay, so we could, or you could do something like this. You could do something like remove this and then put, I want to run 2 runs. Okay, so how about we do 2 runs, and then we can click go, for example. So I'm going to run 2 runs here, and then I can do something else on the side, my other monitor, watch TV while the runs are running. It doesn't use multi-battles. It'll auto sell the gear based on your sell file, which is something I'll go over here as well. So you see here, and it will stop after the second one. So once it reaches 0, it stops. So no more runs. Okay, so that's very basic of how you want to use this in a very basic way. So the other way you can use it, so this check mark is for effective resources, which is the resources right here. You could also run it infinitely. Or you could do auto refill. So auto refill will automatically refill your energy once it goes empty. With gems, it also will use your inbox energy first. So if you have inbox energy, it will take the inbox energy and use that before it uses gems. Okay, you can then set max. You can set max refills 100, for example, if you want to do it that way. Yeah, so there's a couple different ways of how you want to run these type of runs. You could also do this in dungeons, so it doesn't change. So once you go to dungeons, for example, spider, it goes to spider, shows you some stats. That's kind of useful first time, right? You can go auto refill, and I want to do 100 refills of spider, and then I'll just click this green arrow and it'll go for 100 refills. Okay, so it works for spider. Another interesting point here that was kind of updated not too long ago is this target event points. You could click this target event button, and then it will give you all the active events. Sometimes this can be a little bit glitchy, so make sure you guys have a fresh reload of the app, fresh update reload of your game, so all this info is up to date. So for example, you could click this one, get artifacts, which is basically translated to dungeon divers. And then you have all these milestones in the dungeon divers currently active. You could click on whichever milestone you want. Let's say, oh, I want this prism crystal. So now I would just click auto refill and then just click this green arrow, and I would run spider, and I would run spider, auto refilled with gems and inbox energy until I reach this prism crystal, until I reach the desired points for this prism crystal. Okay, so yeah, it's an easy way to do things if you have the resources to do it and you don't have time to micromanage anything. Okay, back to campaign. So back to campaign, another very popular thing that you could do is actually make sure there's no tournament points here, right? You're not doing tournaments anymore. Another very popular thing to do here is running food in your automatically. So you don't have to do manual swapping of your food. So this is what you need to do. When you're here in campaign, you go to multi-level XP, click this box, go to set food. You go to set food. Now you're showing everything. You have everything available to you. You can show your vault champions. You can show your reserve vault champions, faction guardian champions, only fusion. So you can select any one of these. So usually, let's say I moved all my food to my main box. Okay, so I recently just pulled my void shard, so I have a bunch of void 3-star food here, so I want to level them up. Okay, so what I'd like to do to make sure that it doesn't really bug out on me, because sometimes it does bug out, especially when it's automatically changing things. So I like to do this step manually to ensure that it does not bug out. I picked 3 copies that I will 100% remember because in this box here, they're kind of out of order. So in game, I'll select, let's say, these 3 bellowers. Perfect. There's no other bellower here, right? So I'll select 3 bellowers. And then in this, in the application, I will go and select my 3 bellowers wherever they are. So I'll look for them. Oh, okay, great. So the game did actually select them. So, okay, so the 3 bellowers are selected. Perfect. Sometimes that's not the case, okay? So sometimes you have to manually select the 3 bellowers. Okay, now I would manually select multiples of 3. So I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because the reason why is because obviously one run takes 3, right? So let's say you had an odd number. Let's say you go 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing is, once you get to this last one, the app won't sub out the others, and then you'll basically be running with 2 maxed out, and 1 is just running from 1 to 30, for example. So here, I select multiples of 3, so we're doing 8 full sets of 3-star food. At this point, I would just click go, and depending what I want to select, whether I want to run effective resource or auto refill. In this case, it will probably be auto refill because I'll just be using my gems or inbox energy to completely level up these 1-stars up to 30, these 3-stars up to level 30. And then once they're done, the application will stop. Okay. So there's also some other functionalities here. What you could do is basically have the helper auto select for you. Auto select. So you can click auto select. So you can, sorry, let's clear this queue. You can select auto select and then click auto select. Okay. In this case, the game will basically just select the best for you. However, like I said, once you reach the point where you don't have exactly level 1, what if you have a level 4? When you have a level 4, that level 4 will probably reach 31st, right? It'll reach 31st, it will get subbed out, and then another level 1 will come in, but then you'll probably have like 2 level 29s hanging around. So now it's not nice and flush and clean anymore. So it'll get kind of messy that way. So that's why I kind of like to do this step manually. So at least at the end, you have sets of 30 completed without wasting energy. Whereas in other instances, you might have like 1 or 2 or 3 like champions that are not properly 30. They might be like 14, 16, 19. and they're all running like together or something like that. There's other functionalities here, like for example, you could use level limit. It's kind of handy if you want to kind of shave off a little bit of energy. For example, you could use level limit, click level limit, and then for let's say 2-star champions, you can select level limit 19. So all your 2 stars that you select will be level 19, and then it will stop. So it allows you to save a little bit of energy by finishing them off yourself in like normal campaign instead. So for example, Helper won't be able to change the difficulty for you. So Helper won't be, so once you set the difficulty that you're running on, it won't be able to change it mid run or whatever like that. So level limit is good for that if you want to finish off champions yourself. Or you can let Helper finish it off later, but you have to reset it to run basically one run at like a lower difficulty to save a little bit of energy. The other thing you can use limit for, level limit, is for basically leveling champions up a little bit just for extra points during training tournaments and then stopping. So instead of using brews to get quick points, you can use energy instead and level champions up to a predetermined level, and then having Helper stop. This isn't going to be like a training efficiency video, so I don't want to dive into that. My main strategy is basically I never use energy to level up champions if I can help it. I use brews because brews have no other use in this game besides training, whereas energy and gems and so forth can be used for other things. So I try to use brews whenever possible. Brews have very limited value anyways. That's my whole strategy on training. All right, back at the Bastion. So let's jump into another key feature that you guys might be using the Helper for, and that's actually going to be the Forge. You guys click the Forge here. Notice that the Helper auto-selected a couple things here. It selected Auto Forge and it selected Auto Refill. So what you could do is actually this. You could actually set up Helper to automatically craft things for you, and it will keep or sell the crafts based on your cell setting file. So I mentioned this cell setting file earlier when you're farming any campaign, any dungeon. The Helper will sell or keep items based on this file. So I'll jump into that right after the Forge. I'll show you guys how this works. It's very, very handy. So let's say I'm doing resilience, okay? Let's say I'm doing resilience. So I jump into resilience here, and then make sure that the check mark for Auto Forge is on. Sometimes if you hop too quickly into the Forge, the Helper won't automatically detect the Forge, and then it won't give you the option to select the Auto Forge. Okay. So here, what I would do is basically once you click, you have to select number of runs that you want to do. Basically, number of runs. What they should do is change this to crafts when it's selected as Auto Forge, because it's confused a lot of people in the past. So number of runs, this is basically number of crafts. So I have 308 available material. I could do 300 if I wanted to, but instead I'll do 3. I'll do 3. So once you select the number of crafts, you click OK, or you click this green arrow. Okay. So watch this. Click the green arrow. There he goes. It's magic, guys. There you go. And then once the 3 crafts are done, Helper stops. It's magic, guys. So like I said, it's going to keep and sell based on your sell file. Okay. So you can do this for one set at a time, so it won't hop between sets or whatever. It also won't switch charms for you, so you could put charms here if you want and then craft the set amount. It will just burn the charms whenever they're applied. If you run out of charms, it'll keep going. So that's something to look out for. All right, so let's hop into the cell file here. So this is my cell file. It's a modified version of SP Panda's cell file. I can provide a link to it. However, it's best for you guys to hop into Farbstop's Discord and try one of the various cell files out for yourself, depending on your progress. You could also try to craft one yourself. It is a little bit daunting, but if you take your time with it, it's not too bad. So basically what you would do is select add rule, and then you can select whatever artifact set, type, what rank, rarity, and then you can select keep or sell. So if you look down this file, for example, it says weapon, helmet, shield, 6-star mythical with substat speed, keep. Simple, right? So it'll select, this file has selected a bunch of different parameters to keep, and anything that does not meet those parameters, it sells. You see here, ending, sell. Anything that doesn't meet any of these parameters, it sells. Okay, so this can be very complicated or very very simple if you want. You can select all 6-star legendaries that you want to keep, all 6-star legendaries with speed, keep. You can set it up to sell all 5 stars, epics, or below, but keep 5-star legendary, for example, right? So there's lots of things you can do with this file. It might be best to download one existing and then try to modify it if you are, entering like mid or late game. But I think for early game, it's not going to be too complicated for you because you're going to be keeping most of your gear anyways. So just something to keep in mind, guys. I don't want to go into too much detail with this cell file stuff on this one, but this is where it goes. All right, so after the forge, let's hop into a really cool feature here, actually. Hydra. So in Hydra, you can actually set it up so that Hydra will run automatically until the desired damage is achieved. Okay, so I made a video about this earlier, completely separate video just on this one feature alone, but I'll go over the gist of it here. So basically what you would do, I don't have a key, unfortunately, but this yellow pencil here, you select the yellow pencil, you select this Hydra button, auto target damage, you can select whatever damage you want. So it could be like 100 million, for example. Click this green arrow and then click this green arrow. And once you're in the desired difficulty with the key and your team loaded up, make sure the team is on full auto. And then once you click the green arrow here, it will run that one team over and over again until you reach this desired 100 million target. And then the helper will stop. Your team will be on the final score sheet and then stopped. It won't select it. You have to manually select it and confirm the key yourself. However, there is some issues with it running continuously. So one of the big things that I found is if your previous most recent key was not done on full auto, then the helper will not pick up a full auto run for the next key. So in order for the helper to work in the way that I'm describing, the previous key needs to be done full auto. So with the auto setting on. So that's a small little hiccup there. I'm not sure if Farbstop's team is aware, but that's one of the workarounds that I kind of figured out kind of on my own, I guess, with my cluster mates. And yeah, so that's a small thing. But if you did run it full auto, this is an incredible auto play kind of feature. So for our Hydra. So another big thing that the helper can actually help you guys out with is actually show your mercy. So it tracks all your shard pulls. As long as you pull the shards with the helper active, it will keep track of them for you. You can also manually enter your shard amounts For example, if you pulled some shards off of Helper, if Helper wasn't up, for example, or if Helper was broken or requiring an update, and then you pulled some shards, you can always update them manually as well. So this is a nice little feature here. Moving on, we also have something here, shows your gear. This is actually a very big feature in RSL Helper. So what happens is you can go and see all your gear and filter through your gear however you like. 5-star, 6-star. You can go 6-star, mythical gear. It'll show all your mythical gear. It will show whatever set you have, main stats, substats, ascensions, and it'll even show you the levels. This is actually a really nice feature because it'll show you what gear you have on your account that's leveled and not. So for example, on my account, I only have 3 pieces of gear that are not leveled. I only have 9 pieces of gear that are level 8. And most of my pieces are level 12 or higher. You see here, 887 pieces are level 12 or higher. And 0 to 16, so all gear on my account, I have 1,340 pieces of gear. 6-star gear, I've selected a 6-star gear. So if I remove that, it shows 1445, which matches in-game 1445. So sometimes this is one of the tricky parts because it uses imaging. So it can be a little bit wonky. But if you open a fresh RSL Helper, and if you open a fresh player and play game, then it should have its best chances at working properly. There are some small things small little buggy things that happen that you'll have to figure out when you encounter them. I'm not going to go over them in this video, but best case is to go to the FarpStop Discord and look for some answers there in the pinned comments. There's lots of little situations that can happen. So basically what you could do here, is a really nice thing actually, is you could select all the gear that are less than level basically unrolled. So you can select them all and then you can actually roll them up. So this is one of the easiest way to roll up gear. So you can select a target level here. Let's say I'm going to roll them up to level 4. Okay, so I'm going to select go. And watch this, guys. Magic. Magic, guys. Just magic. Boom. So what's going to happen? I just stopped it. Sorry, I just stopped it. So what's going to happen is that the game will look at these 4 items that you just selected. It will go into your game and then select those items and roll them up to your desired levels as long as this is playing. So, obviously this is going to save you a lot of time manualing, from manualing this process. So you can literally do this, walk away, and then come back, and then you'll have a bunch of rolled up gear. Okay, so the other thing you can do, it has a really good filter feature. So obviously you can filter oh, I want to look for quad roll speeds. There, I got 2 on my account. Quad roll speed. Oh, I want to look for quad roll crit rate. There we go. I got 2 pieces. So this won't show pieces that are equipped, so you can show them here. For example, equipped pieces. So I have 4 pieces of quad roll crit. How many quad roll speeds do I have? So I have 10 pieces of quad roll speed. Okay, so this is the gear management side of the helper. It's actually very useful. Obviously, the most useful part is rolling up gear and finding gear, or yeah, those are some of the more helpful things. The other thing you could actually do here is actually go into your has a nice little resource tab here. So if you select this one, it shows you all the resources that you have on your whole account. It even has potions, oils, shards, books, inbox, energies. Yeah, it shows you all sorts of stuff. All right, so moving on to the next handy feature here, we have actually a champion index. So it shows all the champions on your account, for example, and it shows you guys a pretty detailed breakdown of the champion. So for example, I open up my Lady Mikage. It'll show me all my pieces of gear, my masteries, and my total stats here. We'll have to warn you guys, sometimes it is not 100% accurate for whatever reason. I'm not too sure. But it's, like I said, I believe it picks up the images somehow. So sometimes it might not be 100% for sure. So when you're looking at some of the stats, make sure you double check. It might be off by a couple, sometimes it's off by 1 or 2, sometimes it's off by a lot. So it's kind of interesting that way. Another thing we could do, explore up here, is there's a resource. Yes, there's a resource tracker here. CB loot tracker is actually kind of interesting. There's also accuracy, resistance, compare. So for example, like if you have 300 resistance, if you have 300 accuracy and your opponent has 500 resistance, the chance of you landing something is 3.41%. So it's kind of a nice little calculator here. You can also have damage compare, which is really, really nice. So let's say you have 5,000 attack and 200 crit damage. So let's say that's 15,000. This just does some basic math for you. So what if I compare 6,000 attack and 150 crit damage? Oh, it's the same, guys. It does the same amount of damage. What do you know, right? So it's got a nifty, handy way of doing some quick comparisons here. So nice little tool wrapped up in a tool. You have some bundle cost calculations here. I've never actually used this myself. Obviously, free to play. I don't look for these kind of things. But let's say I don't know what happens here. What would I do? 1. Is this supposed to be giving me a value or something? Let's see. Or is there a button I'm supposed to press? Yeah, I actually never used this part before. USD. Oh, convert costs. Huh? Cost US. Cost in US. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So you put the cost here. So I'm learning this too, guys. Let's put $10. $10 for 10 primal shards, 5 big rocks, and a legendary tome. Very good, guys. How about $100? $100 is still very good. What about $500? Crap. There you go. Okay, so you can input your whatever, your bundle, and it does a calculator for you. I don't know how this is, what rating it uses to calculate based on the values of each item. I don't know. So use at your own discretion, but it's kind of fun to play around with. I've never played around with it myself. So I was mentioning the clan boss loot tracker here, which is actually really, really cool. It says here, I'm not sure when it resets. It does reset once in a while. So it's not going to be 100% accurate all the time. But you can see here, for example, my last 7 days on this account, I've picked up 10 ancient shards. So this is from all clan boss loot chests. Last 7 days, I picked up 10 ancient shards, 1 void shard, 2 sacred shards, 185 gems, 3 legendary books, 4 epic books, and then 92 brews and 1.3 million silver. So it's kind of nice to show you, how your RNG is actually going. For example, it's just a quick little look. I don't know when it resets. It might actually be, it resets every update or something. And Helper actually does need to update quite frequently. It does go down every time Plarium updates. So every time Plarium updates, Farbstuff and his team needs to update the Helper. Usually it takes 24 to 48 hours, depending on how busy they are. So make sure you guys keep that in mind. And it usually happens when and we know that Plarium usually updates the game right before Fusion or some kind of big event. And then Helper, of course, goes down in that critical moment. So make sure you guys plan accordingly, of course. Another helpful feature here is actually you click the Hydra. It actually shows you your clan, total damage for your whole clan in a single snapshot. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool if you want to keep tally of your clan mates. If you go to settings, you can do a bunch of stuff here. You can set it to a different color if you want. Iceberg. Whoa, so bright. No thanks for iceberg. So I'm going to go back to my gnome dark. And then you can set the resize aspect ratio. Make sure you have similar timing settings to myself. I believe these settings you won't have any issues with. You can set the FPS or you can set it to auto detection. It's all good. Auto detection probably works a little bit better, I think. You can set your max losses in a row before the helper stops. So for example, if you selected the wrong stage and you selected to auto refill, for example, helper won't leave you hanging if you have this set to something reasonable. Let's say like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, depending on the difficulty of the fight. If, for example, I have it set to 2, so if I lose 2 fights in a row on a stage that I've set on the helper, then the helper will automatically stop and, you know, probably save me. For example, if I selected a wrong stage, for example. And then there's some other various options here. You can set this timing refill. It's not a big deal. I think I have mostly default settings. You can position this, and then you can save current position and size. So that's probably the most useful part of the settings part. So you can put it wherever you want, and then you can click save current position and size. I usually put it in this corner, and then I do the save here. All right, and lastly, we have the donation button here. So if you guys feel inclined to thank Farbstuff and his team for providing us with this tool, of course, you're welcome to with the PayPal button. All right, and yeah, I think I covered everything here in terms of what you probably need to get started, just, you know, using the program on a day-to-day basis. Like I said, I do run 2 accounts, so I can easily press the plus button here and I'll open my second account and have Helper run both accounts. Helper does get a little bit buggy. Like I said, it does use certain imaging, like gear and stuff. So once you have 2 instances open, it probably bugs it out sometimes, especially with like gear rolling or inventories or champion boxes. It does bug it out a little bit, so I can't like do double training on 2 windows at the same time, for example. So it gets kind of buggy that way. But a single instance with Helper, I'm sure it works perfectly flawless. Like I said, try to update like a fresh application, fresh game instance whenever you're starting to play, just to, you know, minimize the amount of bugs that actually happen. Like I said, I'm going to provide you guys with some useful links in the description below, just to get you guys started. The big thing is to find a sell file that you guys are comfortable with. So that's going to be the file that manages what you sell and what you keep. Like I said, when you're starting out, you can probably just make your own sell file, make it really simple. When you get later in the game, then you might have more specific likes for, you know, your gear you want to keep or sell. The other big thing that you probably want to keep in mind is to be careful with the auto refill and the run effective resources. But the last thing I want you guys to do is to use this tool, go to bed, and think you guys selected the right thing, but then you guys didn't, and then use all your gems. That's the last thing I want you guys to do. So make sure you guys are 100% sure that you guys know what you're doing when you guys are selecting the boxes. When you are in doubt, just run effective resources. That's totally fine. If you're going to jump into auto refill, then be prepared to run down your resources unless you set some kind of limit, either in total runs or max refill. Anyways, guys, it's a bit of a long video. Hopefully it was very helpful for you guys. Hopefully it was informative. I know there's a lot of new players that might drop by my channel that wonder what this application is. It's a massive tool. It's very helpful for anyone that plays on PC, and it, you know, really frees up a bunch of time. It increases your efficiency and allows you to basically allocate your time to do other things, instead of sitting in front of the computer all day, for example, right? But anyways, let me know in the comments below if you guys found this video helpful for you guys. Hopefully it made it easier for you guys to use this program. Hopefully show you guys some small tips that I use. Like I said, I use this program daily whenever I play on the PC. It allows me to save my multi-battles in the event that Helper is down one day, or if I'm on vacation, or I'm playing off PC, for example. Anyways, guys, that's enough. Let me know if you guys like it. Let me know what you guys are planning to do with it. Have I convinced you guys to try it out? Let me know. Yeah, appreciate you all. I'll see you guys in the next one.